Thank you, Kunal, for wonderful introduction. Good evening. Be a last speaker. It's very difficult, but let it be. Bear with me 15 minutes. I think so. We're having time 15 minutes. Thank you, Chair, and my co-panelists, dignitaries off and on the dais, and my research scholars from Department of African Studies. Why I'm here? This is the first question. This is the most important question. Why I'm here? It's not basically first on my stage. Few of my scholars came to my department to give me a card. Mr. Chatter, Miss Singh, and Mr. Himansu. So I told them, why not Africa in this? When we are talking about the security, capacity building, why not Africa? And that's why I'm here. Next day I saw my poster and my name on the panel list. So that's why I placed myself here. Sir just told about, Mr. Satish Kumar sir just told about the soft power, cultural connection, cultural diplomacy, and the morning which you coin a word like cultural honesty. And sir also told us 54 country Indian Ocean Rim Organization. There were the 54 country, out of 54 country, there were the more than 10 countries from Africa. And Africa having an important presence of 54 plus 1, 55 country. So how we neglect 55 country when we talk about the when we talk about the like capacity building and the cultural diplomacy with the world. So 55 huge country. So that's why I'm here, and I'll give you some idea, because the first speaker tells about the international aspect of the capacity building, and the second speaker, Professor Sanjay Kumar Sharma, and it's really fascinates me, a rock historian and a rock architect tells about the personality building, how you develop your personality to make a developed country, just like Swami Vivekananda, and both the articulation was very perfect. I'm the history student, and my whole idea about it's not cultural diplomacy, it's the cultural connect or the cultural honesty. And now, and sir talked about the Vyakti Nirman. Through the personal experience, 13-degree deviation gives her the Bhagdar. Like it's very fascinating words, both of our speakers. So thank you very much giving me this opportunity to extend my idea from here. Like I'm going to talk about the community, how community building through the community perception we can develop India-Africa relation. I have prepared a very long PPT because I thought that 45 minutes is enough for me to finish all this, and certainly it's got 10 minutes, but give me 15 minutes to give me idea, because here I'm going to portray two things. First, Africa in the context of India, and the African studies in the context of the educational system. This is two ideas I want to promote here. The first thing, as the first slide, because I'm not looking my slides there. So my first slides, it's I'm not going to talk about the capacity building and the strategic capacity building, but the culture and the cultural connection is a part of capacity building. So again, so the track to diplomacy here, because my department is a wholly international department, so I'm going to talk about cultural diplomacy or the track to diplomacy. I mean to say it's when we talk about the diplomatic term. So if we talk about the India-Africa relation and why Africa is important for the India, so we work on the educational and the skill development and the ICCR fellowships, ITCE fellowships, and the people-to-people connect. So I'm going to talk about this people connect and the traditional knowledge system. But everybody knows that India having the indigenous traditional knowledge, and Africa the same in the African continent, and 55 countries having the traditional African knowledge system. So here a great connect to India, and people, when the people talk about the India-Africa relation, most of the 90% forum, they talk about the word that it was the colonial legacy. Sorry, it was not colonial legacy, because India and Africa not more than 100 years got colonized by the European powers, and India mostly, I'm not going to in controversy, 500 years. But 5,000 years civilization, 500 years of the dominance, 4,500 years we were free. So this is not what the we had lose our traditional knowledge system. So only 100 years of African colonized by the European powers, but Africa had a great knowledge system, and we can inculcate all those knowledge system with our Indian knowledge system and create the world, a new world order. And for the new world order, the Africa is the most important integral part of Indian strategy. If not, so it's my humble request to all capacity builders or all any personnel to do like this. And we are having 175 research scholars who are doing the different parts of the African continent, African countries and the different parts of continent. Okay, so obvious why Africa is important. So I'm talking about the same thing like G20 summit. Everybody knows about the G20 summit and the trade volumes between India and what. I'm not going to put China here because the China and Africa terms is entirely different. I'm only put my term because our priorities are the different and the Chinese priorities are the different. So why we every time we compare with the China? Why not India and Africa? Why we need the China every time to, just like 20 years back it's every time Pakistan. So right now when we talk about the international relation, every time we talk about the China. No, we built our relationship because the cultural honesty, culturally we built our relationship with Africa, and you see the mesmerizing effect in the world order. I know the Africa divided into so many parts like Francophone, Lusophone, but now the day is gone where every Africa under the one umbrella, and the umbrella is what? One Africa, one continent and one Africa. Just like India, we are doing, and we are moving towards the towards the oneness, जहाँ पे आत्मा और परमात्मा का मिलन होता है. Just like a Hindu ideology, Hindu mantra, these things. I have so many data, but I'm not going to depict here because we had a India-Africa energy cooperation and the huge energy cooperation because India and Africa both of the sunlight's country. Okay, that means the direct sunlight on India and on the Africa. So 54 countries and in India. So we had a great energy, great run for the solar energy system or solar power system. In the coming days, I'm looking towards the India and Africa solar power commitment and solar power ideas. Okay. Here I am going to talk about one community, and the community which is the Afro-Indians community. And most of people maybe know in the different ways, but I am going to portray those community, those tribes in the different ways to inculcate India's and Africa relation. Because sir told about the international idea, and then Professor Kumar told about the personality building, and I'm going to talk about the community commitment to show, look, Africa is in India, a mini Africa is in India. I'm not talking about the Africa, the so-called the bad image of Nigerians or Algerians in the Hajj Khas and the Hajj Rani. I'm not talking about this because this was manifested by some media person, because I know them very personally. Not like this. Everybody is involved in so many bad elements, not only Nigerians or Algerians or the Kenyans, those who are living. Do you know that 40 African embassies in India, 40 African embassies in India, and day-to-day basis we are inculcate that development to the India and Africa through the Department of African Studies. And one only the term, one statement, around 80% of the world maritime oil trade passes through the IOR, Indian Ocean. IOR, that means Indian Ocean Rim Association countries, 54 countries, and that 10 or 11 countries belong to the African continent. So very important and very interesting purview. A total 20% trade goes through the Somaliland and the Somalia, the Puntland. So how Africa is important. So this is the very interesting thing. So I'm talking about this community, and community basically for the a common person known as Siddhi community, and they are living in the Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Goa, Daman, Diu. You name the state, and you'll find the Africans, Indo-Africans, they came in India through the Arabs and the Portuguese. They came to India with the Arabs and the Portuguese. And it's the first instant, it was the Yakut, Rajia Sultan's, the stable in charge, the Yakut. Everybody knows about if you have gone through the movie Rajia Sultan, Dharmendra played that role, Yakut ka role usne kiya tha. And one very notable personality known as Malik Ambar. Everybody knows the Prime Minister of Ahmednagar. And do you know this thing that the Jinat Mahal, the wife of Bajid Ali Shah, were half Africans. So there are lot many examples if you find, and in the Shivaji army, the Shivaji army, they were the Africans, Siddhis, with the fought for the India. And in 1857, in Awadh, we had so many instances where the African Siddhi fought for the India against the Britishers, and one of my scholars worked on this, Africans in Awadh. So what I'm trying to portray through this community, and people are basically 2011 census, it was 51,247 Siddhis are in India, but right now 1 lakh people are living in India, and they are the not African, they are the Afro-Indians. If you go through the pictures, you'll see the whole idea of Afro-Americans. So what I'm trying to say, that why not we connect those community and showcase to the world, look, how I preserve your cultural connect. And this way, because sometimes we told them you are ST and you are having this much idea, that much idea, this much constitutional remedies, but we heard and we know them as a cultural connect to the 54 countries of Africa, because they are the Bantu people, they came from the 10 African countries to the India. Basically, they came from Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Mozambique. But the Bantu people, came from the eastern part to the western part of Africa. So they spread themselves into the whole Africa. So what I'm trying to portray here to the cultural connect, because the cultural connect or track to diplomacy is the most integral part of the any country's relationship to the other country. So these are the showcase of the African, how we preserve African identity into the on the Indian soil, and through this we can establish the museum. And in the Goa, the government of India and the culture ministry, they are going to establish a museum for the freedom fight cities from the tribal freedom fighter. And it's very interesting that 200 cities or Afro-Indian people are in Goa, and during the freedom fight of the between Portuguese and the fighters of the Goa, they fled from the Goa to the Karnataka. And right now 2 major settlements in Karnataka, Yellapur and Ankola, and there are many more, but Yellapur and Ankola people are living. One of my scholars went there and research very extensive, and it's a very privileged to say that one MLC from the ruling party, central ruling party, Bharatiya Janata Party, one MLC, and he is flagship of these Afro-Indians to the Karnataka Santabai city. And one city called Hirabai Lobi got Padma Shri to work on Afro-Indians. And because I have so many names to portray here, but I'm not going to explain because I have a cheat and I have left only 120 seconds. So in conclusion, what I'm trying to say, yes, it's a international capacity building. Yes, it's a personal capacity building. But my propagation that the community building, through the community connect, we can showcase of the India culture richness to the most of the African countries. And we are doing Department of African Studies, doing this from the last so many years, and this is the year of the establishment of Bandung Conference, and this is the 70th year of the Department of African Studies. So I welcome everyone to come when we are going to celebrate the Bandung Conference with the inception of Department of African Studies in the University of Delhi. So I invite everyone when we are going to celebrate these conferences in our department. So thank you very much. My perception, through the community idea, we can inculcate the cultural relation may be with the Portuguese, with the French, because you know in the Spain, in the Portugal, in the France, the football team, they are having half team of the African descendants. So look this, and we inculcate those idea into the Indian subcontinent also, because Siddhis are not in India, they are not only in India, they are in Sri Lanka, they are in China, they are in the Pakistan, but I'm talking about the Indian Afro-Indians who are living in the western coast of India. So thank you very much, and this forum, and thank you, because I do not know so many dignitaries through this forum, but thank you very much for giving this opportunity to establish my idea, my department's idea, Delhi University, ideas about the African studies. So thank you very much, and have a fruitful day. Thank you. I hope so. I'm quite clear of my opinion. Thank you. Have a nice day.